It's fine.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show of What is School For? My name is I'm the CEO of Classroom Without Walls and the host of this weekly live streaming show. You can also listen to us on the traditional audio-only podcast. Just search What is School For? On this show, I interview young entrepreneurs, business leaders, educators, teachers, parents, and students to come here to discuss, debate, and disrupt education. Our goal is to future-proof the next generation. And today, I have a next generation on the show. I'm really excited to have Kabir Bains on the show to talk about his journey as a college dropout and to earn a six-figure income. On this show, I have interviewed quite a few high school dropouts, college dropouts. Each of them has an incredible story. I hope those stories can inspire you, our listeners or viewers or replay watchers, to start to see alternative path to succeed in life and in career. And so really excited for today's topic. And as always, a big shout out to StreamYard for being a sponsor of Classroom Without Walls. And over the last several years, I have tried almost all the third-party tools to go live. StreamYard is my favorite. In the comment section, there is a discount code for you to check out StreamYard for free for 2 weeks. Check it out. Send me a message if you have any questions. We're live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Periscope, and on Twitch. If you are live with us right now, let me know in the comment section where you are joining us live from, social media-wise and geographically speaking. Without any further ado, Kabir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, likewise. I'm a fan of what you do. I think your story can inspire so many young people, older people, and parents out there. So let's dive into today's conversation. As I mentioned, I have interviewed quite a few dropouts myself as a professor dropout. So I just love those non-traditional stories. So for you, you graduated from high school last year in summer. So right after that, you got accepted by your dream university and your dream program. But halfway through the first semester, you dropped out of college to start pursuing your passion, like full-time, becoming an entrepreneur. So can you please share that story with us, which I think is absolutely fascinating?
Yeah, of course. It's not that long of a story. It's fairly short and sweet. Like, there's always, well, down here, I don't know what the difference would be, but we just call it university down here. But there was always one university that always caught my eye and I wanted to go to, which was Simon Fraser University. I always wanted to get into the business program. And I actually got accepted into it. I graduated less than a year ago. So in June 2020, from high school. And I got accepted into my dream university, dream program. Everything was going very, very well. But I later figured out, like, once I was in the semester, in the course, in the program, it was affecting my mental health, my schedule, from what I actually wanted to do and pursue. I just made the personally individual executive decision, I guess you can say, to like actually stop going and like fully pursue what I was doing outside of that, which was my marketing agency, and I was also a sales rep for a consultancy, a management consultancy.
Wow, that's amazing. I have so much to unpack. So like you got into this dream school, which is like to do business. So share with us, how is this affecting your mental health? You mentioned, I'm curious to see the connection.
Yeah, so I was very interested in making money. That was always like my first thing. Like I was just like, okay, cool. I want to be financially free. I want to retire my parents as soon as I can. I want like my family and like, my generational wealth to be very good as well. Money was always the thing that caught my eye first. And then outside of me wanting to make money, the idea of a marketing agency came up and, making money online. But slowly the vision of having money kind of went away, and it was more on a deeper level of, me being a little more comfortable in life, or me sharing more experiences with my friends and family, and like having
Mm,
that free time, because time is very important to me now and it's
mm,
very valuable. um but yeah, it was like a weird phase of me wanting to make money, and now it's just like I want to be fulfilled in life. And then there were like a
mm,
bunch of things that just kicked in. um but yeah, it was I was kind of caught in the trap, or the idea of going to university and actually going through these programs and spending the money and then getting a degree. And I was trained in high school, where I thought it was guaranteed that once I get that degree, I'm actually gonna, get a job and everything. But once I actually got to university, to answer your question here, it affected my mental health, because I was doing this sales rep position and I had my marketing agency during university, but I
mm,
was spending hours on university, and
mm,
the professors were giving me homework that was just hours on end for 4 courses, and then that was like, I don't know, 6 hours a week total times four. And over top of that, like, I on courses that I struggle on, I spend a lot more time on, and it was taking a lot more time, energy. Was
mm.
barely eating. I was, because it was online,
Wow.
I was always on, the Zoom chats, and I wanted to pursue the marketing agency and keep doing the sales rep job. But I was like barely getting any sleep, because I was just
Mm,
grinding hard outside of university, but also trying to keep my grades up in university. Um, but yeah, once I just went through that phase of just locking myself in my room, working every single day for a few months, it all paid off. And it started, like, the marketing agency started to pick up, the sales rep position was going very, very well. And then I just individually made the decision, without even asking my parents, to drop out of one class, just one class. And then after I spoke to my dad and my mom, and yeah, then we just sat down for a few days, just discussed, and then I just fully dropped out of university. So it was a lot better for me as soon as I dropped out. Like, I still remember the day I dropped out of that one class, and it was amazing, because like I just had so much more free time and space, even in my head, like in two
mm.
seconds. And then after that, it was very nice to just have extra time, free time, to actually work on my passions, which is very important, I believe.
Wow, what a fascinating journey and the story, and I really admire you. So was this like a easy decision for you to make? And like I know, like you like after high school, this is your dream university. Like I know, like for me, when I decided to leave my professor position, it was not a very easy decision. I mean, like this is something I dreamed about for my entire life, to be a college professor. But like after I discovered it's not really serving me or my students, I wanted to do something else. But for you, was this like an easy decision making? Like were your parents like super like go Kabir, like we support you, or there were like some tension that you had to work out?
Yeah, so for talking to my dad about it, it was very easy. Talking to my mom, it was a little more difficult, but I knew at the end of the day that, like, I'm me. Nobody can really stop me from
Mm,
doing what I want to do. But there's also specific cultures. For me, I'm Punjabi, so I know in my culture that
mm,
um, what parents do. I know what parents do in our culture. So in our culture, it's everyone's just trained to follow the usual path of just going to university, going through high school, then university, getting that degree. It's the usual cheesy and cliche stories. But in our culture, like, they're fairly strict on that, and they
mm,
fairly, like, believe that heavily. Um, but yeah, it was easy convincing and talking to my dad about it, because he came to Canada from India when he was, I believe, 14 years old. And he actually
mm,
only did high school until grade 10. And then after that,
mm,
he dropped out of high school, because back then, I don't know exactly what the situations were, but now he's running a successful trucking business. So he understood. But for
mm.
my mom, she went through the process of going to university in India, coming to Canada, going through programs and getting certifications and all that stuff. And now she's a legal assistant. But
Mm.
I still remember she was tearing up a little bit because not because she thought I was going to fail, but because she was scared I was going to fail. She wanted me to be leaning back on the crutch of university. Even if I genuinely don't believe that that's actually a crutch, like
Mm.
university is just the same as not going to university. Like everything is just, you got to put in your all. Um, yeah, it was difficult convincing my mom, but at the end of the day, I told her that, I'm me, like I'm just talking to you about it, but I already made the decision beforehand. I just want to let you guys know because like I'm your son, you're my parents, like I want to talk to you guys instead of just doing this all by myself.
I love it. So basically, I made the decision. I'm here to inform you,
In
not to
fact,
have a
yeah,
discussion.
exactly,
I love that. I love
exactly.
that. Yeah, we got some really good comments from there, and like pretty strong goals. Yeah. Again, I wish I had this ambition and I had those goals when I was 18, as opposed to follow the traditional path, which I don't think only in India, but also like I came from like Chinese, that background is the same. High school, like college, and then like graduate school, and so on and so forth, and then that like nobody ever questioned this. That's why I love stories like yours so much. And we have Angela, also from Canada. Thank you for joining us live. So you said that when you were in high school, you wanted to start a business. And when did you start your own like marketing agency? This is something I didn't even know.
Yeah, so first off, going a little bit further back, for university, like I always wanted, well, ever since grade 10, I always had the mindset of, having some type of business, some type of online business.
Mhm.
But I was trained to, believe that university was the only way to actually get that degree. And then using that degree, I can get, into the business world or online business. But,
Mhm.
I later figured out once getting into university, um, it's doable without, spending 60 grand on that stuff. But yeah, in grade 10, that's when I started to have the mindset of, I want to be
Mhm.
financially free. I want to have fun. I want to feel fulfilled in life. In the beginning of or mid grade 10, I started drop shipping. It wasn't really for me. Didn't really go that well. I made like $300 in like several months, which was kind of a failure, but imperfect action, and I learned from it. And then
Mhm.
in the beginning of grade 11, this guy moved from the US to my high school in Canada. And I was talking about Facebook ads out loud. And then he came up to me because he was in my marketing class and he actually introduced to me, Facebook ads and a Facebook ads marketing agency, SEO agency, and all these stuff. And I just looked at a online course. I believe his name was James Brinker. He had a online free course about how to start a marketing agency and how to set everything up and start sending out messages, getting clients. Um, for an entire, I'd say 12 months, it was just me trying to do everything by myself.
Wow.
And it was difficult because I didn't get a single client for an entire year from grade 11, like first month of grade 11 all the way to first month of grade 12. And then the traction kind of picked up. Um, and this was, it started to pick up in January 2020. And
Mhm.
yeah, in around, I believe April of 2020, I actually saw in an Instagram post of Ravi Obavala, if anybody heard about him. And he said that he was hiring sales reps and he was looking for, sales reps. And he said it was like a one in a lifetime opportunity. And the thing is, I've been following him for almost 2 years before I saw that Instagram
Wow.
post. And I remember like a year and a half ago, he had like an online real estate mastermind and it was for $50. And I didn't have $50 to actually spend on that. And I didn't want to ask my mom for the 50. So I just didn't
Mhm.
go to the online mastermind. But I saw this as an opportunity. I've been following
Mhm.
him and I believed in, what he was doing. I liked him as a person. And I just applied and I ended up getting, accepted and brought onto the program and the company as a sales rep. So I feel like that sales rep position was the most pivotal point of
Mhm.
my business life and also my life overall, my personal life, because I built a lot of hard skills and soft skills that I also converted onto my marketing agency. So right now I'm just doing those hand in hand, the marketing agency and also the sales rep position. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey since. It's been around, I believe, 11 months, 10, 11 months since I've been in the company, and everything just started picking up. ever since I joined that company, which is very, very cool.
I mean, you're like, at such a young age, 18 years old, earning a six-figure income. I think that's very impressive. And I know many professionals my age, they're still trying to get to that six-figure level. When I resigned from my professor position, at the time I was making 90K, 90,000. My dream was like, oh my God, when can I actually, cross that six figure? So I think what you are doing is really incredible. I still remember when you and I first connected through Zoom last year in December, I was so impressed by your communication skills in particular, like how confident you are. And later when you told me you were 17, I think at the time, I was like, no way, that's incredible. That's incredible because I work with people to improve their communication skill. Like many older people don't even have the communication skills that you have. So I want to ask you, just like as you mentioned, doing what you do now, like being a sales rep, and you have to make lots of cold phone calls, talking to strangers. When you and I first talked, we don't know each other. So was this a easy starting point for you? Because as an entrepreneur, and many of my friends are entrepreneurs, one of the hardest part is that people avoid doing is like pick up the phone, calling people, doing those calls, talking to strangers, fear of rejection, a number of reasons. So how about for you? Was this something that you just naturally pick it up and then scaled and become so good at it, or there were challenges and fears that you had to overcome? So can you share that with us?
Yeah, so there's two things. First off, repetition is key. Just
Mm,
literally getting those calls in every single day or every single week. And the second thing is it's very, once again, very cliche and cheesy, but you literally just have to pick up the phone and do it. And you just have to put in the work. A lot of people want to get to places, but they don't want to put in the work. Like
mm,
for me, once I got the sales rep position, it was a very competitive environment. And, Ravi even said that before we jumped in. And I love that because before, jumping into business, I was doing soccer since I was like 4.5 years old. I was a captain on my team and, I was a leader. And I guess my communication skills started to build up from that captain position in soccer.
wow.
But once it came to, speaking to owners, I remember in grade 11 and grade 12, like I used to skip class and go to the library, pick up the phone and start dialing because I was just trying to get that one client, that first client.
Wow.
Um, and just getting rejected over and over and over again. I figured out like loopholes on how to, cold call correctly or, get to the decision maker, as fast as I can. And not be, wasting their time and show as much value as I can, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but yeah, I guess it's just a limiting belief. It's just your belief on the
Mm,
call. Like I remember speaking to family members at family get-togethers like 2.5 years ago or so. Like I just used to be that quiet guy that didn't make eye contact.
mm,
Um, but yeah, like now it's like I wouldn't say I'm the life of the party, but like I'm part of the life of the party. I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not really sitting on the side. I'm like with the entire family, like in the center of the group, talking, having fun, living life, enjoying it. Um, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that helped me, like having that mindset of just, you live every single day, just, spend it wisely, have fun, just don't
mm.
have any regrets. And that's where I guess it's just like in the back of my mind, it just helps me with my communication skills. I feel like everybody's communication skills are there. It's just you just have to mentally unlock that skill, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and actually practice this, right? Like I worked with students who took so many communication, public speaking courses, but in real life, they still have challenges like communicating, especially talking to strangers. I think that's why I believe real learning happens in real life, actually outside the classroom. I think just listening to you, sharing your story is exactly how you do those calls in being rejected. I'm sure it's not a great feeling. Who enjoys being rejected? But how you can bounce back, learn from that and keep going. I think that is really so compelling to show how you are actually cultivating those skills outside the formal learning environment. And also I want to ask you, it is so incredible because I also work with younger kids. Most younger kids are not thinking about, making money, starting my own business, go to the library to call people, get that client. So what was it in you that makes you so different? Is it because of a class you took or the influence from your dad? Or what is it in you that you are definitely not a traditional student? So I want to kind of go deeper there to see if this is something that you intentionally has cultivated or just kind of naturally comes, runs in your DNA or from your dad. So can you share that with us?
Yeah, so when it comes to like your morals and everything, I really feel like it's just taught from your parents. Like, it depends because my parents were strict on like, drinking or not doing drinking or not doing any drugs or anything like that. And I don't do any of that, and I've never done that before, and
Mm,
I never want to in the future either. Same thing with my sisters as well. But I feel like when it comes to the passion and what you want to do, you're just literally born with it. It's just a natural thing that comes up, but it
mm,
just depends on the age where that passion actually unlocks, if that makes sense. Like, I believe that I always had that in the back of my mind of being
mm,
successful, living life, feeling fulfilled every single day. But once again, like in the beginning of grade or like mid grade 10, that's when it actually unlocked and I actually wanted to pursue something like that in that passion field. But yeah, there's just a lot of people that get blocked, and there's like that brain fog or something or somebody always kind of cuts them off, and it affects them for like finding their passion and their true meaning in life. And that's something that's unfortunate, but it's just it has to change. But it all comes from like the household, and then also your environment outside of that household. For example, your family, your parents, your siblings, your relationship with them, and then also your friends. You should have a tight group, in my opinion.
mm,
They should all be in the same realm as what you want to do, but also diversified, if that makes sense. um like I have one best friend, and my friend circle is probably like 2 to 3 guys. But yeah, it's just everybody has their own passion and like what their own goals, but in like a broad perspective, we're still the same. It's like we still
mm,
have the same personal goals. We always say either with one of my friends, we always say pick up a book and start reading, or just turn off your phone and do something else.
mm.
Or just like drop your phone and just meditate for a little bit, or like make sure you smile today, all that good stuff. And it all depends on um your friend circle and like your environment that actually helps you pursue that passion and take it from there.
Wow, that's so incredible. Are those, like you said, like 2 to 3 very close friends? I so agree. We are the average of the 5 people that we hang out the most. And like for those 2 or 3 friends that you have, are those people your like your peers, kind of college or high school friends, or the friends that you have made through the like entrepreneurial circle?
Yeah, so it's I have a bunch of friends in the entrepreneur circle, but I'm just talking
Mm,
about like my local friends like down here
mm,
in Langley, British Columbia. But none of them are doing the online business type of thing.
mm,
They're doing their own thing. Like they just I know my closest friend, he went to university, but then I told him finally after a while that I dropped out, and now he was asking me that could be like I'm lost. I don't know what to do. Like, should I drop out? Is that a big risk? And I'm like, I don't just want to tell everybody to drop out. The
mm,
thing for me was while I was doing university, I was building something on the in the back end and on the side. So once I guess you could say the side hustle started to pick back up,
mm,
and it really started to scale, then I opened up the idea to drop out. But thinking about it now, like if you're not even in university yet, just start grinding it out now so you can save that time and even save that money. Because for the first semester I spent like $3,200. I could have saved that money, but yeah, I spent it because I didn't know. I was just following the entire group. um
mm.
but yeah, for friends, a bunch of friends in the entrepreneur game, not too many local. There's a lot of them in the United States and England and all that stuff. But yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love how now you are a mentor, inspiration to your friends. You can encourage them to do the same thing. And I love this comment from Mike. Thank you for joining us live. And yeah, he's also inspired by you. Me too. That's why I have Kabir on the show. We're all inspired. And I'm like 42 years old, inspired by your story. So he still regrets, backing away from a similar decision and wanting to join the military, but his parents push him to go to college. Yeah, I think many people have that. As a mom now, have two children, it is so easy to project our own dreams, wishes, and egos into our children, right? Like your mom maybe a little bit, you have to go to college. It's like prestige, so I can talk about it with others. So yeah, I really have to work to overcome that. I love how I don't know if you caught it, Mike earlier, Chris, Mike and Kabir was sharing that how he just informed his parents. This is my decision. I love that. I love the agency and autonomy. So you were talking about, college debt, something that's actually one of my questions. Just last year in the United States alone, like surpassed 1.7 trillion in the United States in terms of student debt. And I want to do a quick screen share of two Forbes articles that I enjoyed reading and also very relevant to our discussion today. So let me share my screen real quick. And so the first one is, and I interviewed the author, Brendan Busted. If you want to check out the interview, I can share with you. So talking about the importance of college dropped for nearly 50% among young adults in just 6 years. And here's another article, which I found to be equally fascinating. Americans actually rank a Google internship way over a Harvard degree. So very interesting. So like research has shown that like two reasons for this. Number one is how expensive college has become. And number two is how unprepared college graduates are even after a 4-year college degree. So I want to ask you, Kabir, do you agree with like the numbers I kind of shared with everyone? So what is your perspective on this?
Yeah, like I always think about it. I just it's hard because I don't know if people really understand like how crazy it is. Like I can't stress enough that it's not guaranteed once you get that degree. You can't really get a job. Like I was speaking to one of my friends and of course I'm not going to say her name, but she was just saying that she was in the same program as me and she was saying, Kabir, um I'm very stressed right now. Like school's mentally
Mm,
affecting me, but it's all going to be fine at the end. Once I get my degree, I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to get a nice job, in the business world. But I replied back to her. I'm like, I'm not saying anything to put you down, but I'm like, is that guaranteed, right?
mm,
Because I'm very straightforward, but I'm not mean. I'm just straightforward, just to like, let them know. But I was just like thinking as well, and I even told her, I'm like, is that even guaranteed? That's where I stress out a lot. It's it's just people are stuck in that one machine of just going through to high school to university and then getting that degree, but they don't understand in the back, if they even track their numbers, how much money was put in and what kind of return on investment you got in a certain amount of time. Like for me, I'm not even a single dollar in debt. If I was going through university, it would have just been well, I'm just an 18-year-old kid, so there's nothing I have debt in. But yeah, it's just I didn't want to keep asking my parents for like the $3,200 per semester, because it's not like I was going to be able to pay it anyways with the job I had, like way back then. Um, but yeah, I stress about it a lot. I just don't feel like people are ready to understand. Like
mhm.
I know they can understand that, school, university debt, and there's no guarantee and all that stuff. But I feel like there's been so many years where it's just been I guess you can say the norm, that they just don't want to step out of that. And going back to the articles, like I believe Elon Musk, all these big names, they're just saying they're looking for experience instead of that degree now, but nobody really understands that in a deeper level. They're like, okay, cool, experience over degree, that's awesome. I'll just do a co-op or something like that. Don't get me wrong though, like if you want to get a specific skill set, like even being a lawyer, or if you want to be a doctor, university, it's amazing. I'm not saying universities for everyone. I'm not saying it's for no one, but
Mhm.
there's just universities for specific people, but then also you got to take into account that if you want to just be an accountant, or if you want to you know, be a financial advisor, you can easily learn that online, easily, even through for free on YouTube, or you know, outside of paying $60,000 for a 4-year program, stressing out a lot. You can even pay $5,000, $10,000 for a little coaching program, and you can get, you know, a lot of a greater return on investment for that as well.
Totally. I mean, like just like last year, Google, they even launched their own career certifications to replace the 4-year college. And based on what I read, their career certifications lasts about like 6 months. And it is like $300 per course. So once you took a few courses and for a few specific positions, and once you finish that, they will count that as equivalent to a 4-year college degree, and you will have a chance to work for Google. I was like, wow, that is pretty amazing. Yeah, yeah. So we have, some really great comments. Hey, Chris, thank you for joining us live. I so agree that you mentioned, you know, working on this as a side hustle. College is not for everyone, but also college can be for certain positions and certain people. And I love how you, Kabir, you have such a clarity on what you wanted to do. I think that really helps you make this decision and facilitate the success, right? Even if you don't have that formal structure, you can still design your life, manage your life. So last weekend, my husband and I, we were just listening to this NPR station talking about how during the pandemic, so many students are feeling lost because for so many years, they're relying on that school to give them routine, to give them structure. So one day when the school structure is not there, everyone's like, oh my God, what to do? But in your case, I'm definitely hearing a totally different story because you are the creator. You are the designer of your life. You don't need a school, a teacher to tell you this AM, do this time, do this. So that's really what I love the most about your story. Like you have that agency and you develop that skills to create your life. And whereas most kids in the formal structure, they are still waiting for that permission, waiting for that order, waiting for that rule from the teacher to kind of design their life. So very fascinating, very fascinating. Yeah. So we got so many
I mean, I was gonna go back to, I believe Chris said that comment. You know, like for me stating that it's not for everybody. Like, don't get me wrong though. Like once again, like even one of my friends, one of my best friends, he's going to university because he wants to be a kinesiologist, and I'm encouraging him a lot for that. I'd even once bring up the idea saying, you know, drop out, you can figure this out yourself. Like for that specific situation, like definitely stay, you know, learn, it's going to be beneficial for you. I'm not the type of person to just grab a megaphone, go on the street and start saying, you know, drop out of college or drop out of university. Like I'm definitely for university for specific courses and specific futures, and then I'm also against it for specific things as well. It's just people just have to find that balance, and they really need to figure out that according to what they want to do in the future, definitely check with, you know, for example, like me, like I looked at certain people in the marketing game, in the online business world, and I saw a lot of people multiple times over and over that, you know, they said, I went to university, but I didn't learn anything. I lost a lot of money, or I didn't go to university and I'm successful, or like, you know, maybe take a gap year. If you're really scared, just take a gap year and just try to figure it out and grind it out for a year and see, you know, if you want to go back or not. That's what I always recommend. Depending on what you want to do in the future and depending on your passion, you can easily search anybody up on Facebook or LinkedIn, and you can ask them questions and be like, look, I'm in this position. I just want to see, what did you do, you know, university wise or anything like that.
I love this. It's so important. I so agree, right? Like I don't know that many professions, but I know if you want to become a college professor, you need to get at least a PhD. So yeah, that's for sure. Like, yeah. And also I think also knowing what you want. And that's another thing I love about your story is like, you know exactly what you want. You share one of your friends is feeling lost. I mean, that's 2/3 of the college age students I work with. They have no idea what they want to do. And so I think understanding what you want to do, so and then design a life, design a career based on what you want to do. I think that is so critical. So you know, living your own life, not other people's lives. I love this comment from Angela. You know, like going back to what you said earlier. You know, it definitely helps to have drive and good influencers, like positive role models. I think those things are very, very important, connecting with people. Nowadays with social media, it is a lot easier to connect with those people, even in different countries. And so here's a great question from Alice. Thank you for joining us live. And she is an amazing educator herself. So for the young people listening, and this is actually one of my questions, what are the main skills a person needs to have to own their own business? I think, yeah. So what do you think are some critical skills that the young people out there, they need to have in order to like be as successful as you, right? Start a business, run their own thing, and become so self-sufficient.
Yeah, so when it comes to a specific skill, there are a lot of hard skills and soft skills, but the one thing that is the most important thing that you need is just belief. You know, through belief, you can actually have work ethic, and through work ethic, you can actually figure out and learn and build a skill. Like for me, I honestly had no clue. I was just a clueless, like, 16-year-old back then. And then I literally had that belief that, when I'm 25 or when I'm 30, I want to be here and this is what I need to do to get there. So I believed that, and I believed it was possible through looking at other people online. So through that belief, I just sat down, I opened up my laptop and I put in that work. And I built that work ethic and that discipline. And then through that, honestly, the skills just came. All the hard skills, all the soft skills, copywriting or communication skills, everything just came in. It's honestly insane how those skills can just build. But once again, belief, work ethic, repetition, you get that discipline built, and then all the skills will just come flooding in. Like, trust me, like that's exactly what happened to me. And I feel like the only thing you need to do is just work hard and just, don't just be like a clueless, brainless, just type of machine or robot just working all day, but just actually try to be, aware and alive whenever you're working and really enjoy it and have that passion inside of it. And then the skills are just going to be flooding in. But of course, there's a bunch of skills that are important, like writing, excuse me, like computer skills and all that type of stuff. But once again, like I can literally get my grandma I can teach my grandma how to use a computer. And if she does it a certain times every single day, a certain amount of times every single day, like she'll eventually learn it. Like I just taught her how to, open up YouTube on the iPad and then actually watch the news on that. Cause she sits upstairs in her room and there's no TV up there. So I taught her and she did that for a few days straight. And now she doesn't even ask me how to do it anymore because she figured it out. So yeah, it's just repetition.
I love that. And how, like, I agree, some of the technical skills you can easily pick up. I love how you said that setting and creating your goals, that mindset, like I don't even know how many young people out there are actually creating such big life goals for themselves. In 5 years, in 3 years, I'm going to be there. And I love that. Actually, so based on Alice's question, one of my questions is that I really want to see the comparison, the contrast. You spend a decent amount of years in the formal school learning environment, and you also spend a few years outside the classroom learning environment. And I want to ask you if you can reflect on those kind of two different paths. How have they prepared you differently for your success today? Some like key observations, takeaways, or reflections you can share with us regarding those two kind of within the classroom learning versus kind of learning through jobs, working with mentors, and how are those two systems preparing you differently?
Yeah, for for me, for I guess the entrepreneur type of person, or if you want to jump into the online business world, high school didn't help me at all, to be 100% honest with you. Like I just went to high school to have fun and just live life, hang out with my friends, or because I didn't go to class like most of the time. Of course, my grades were high. Like in grade 12, I think I got like two B's and the rest of them are A's, but it was just I was kind of being smart in class. I wasn't working hard. I was working
Mhm.
smart in class. But yeah, my grade 12 was spent on just having fun because in grade 11 I worked so hard and my grades were not that well. It was like averaging, like I had like, a few B's. I probably had like a C plus, C minus. The only problem with me was I didn't want to do all those 8 classes in like
Mm.
science, English, social studies and all that stuff when I just wanted to do something that would help me like be a better man and actually make me money and make me like, be financially free and something that's related to my goals. The thing is with the mentor or with school, they tell you that take all these classes because you need to know, a little bit of everything. But I was just always confused, like, why is there one teacher per class? Why shouldn't, if we need to know, as if us as one student have to know like 8 different subjects, why is there like one teacher per subject? Why isn't there one teacher teaching all subjects, if that makes sense? That's what always confused me. And it frustrated me as well. But then over top of that, if you have a mentor, they can specifically teach you exactly what you want and exactly where you want to be. So people really disregard that, and once again, like they're just blocked by the, I don't know, 20, 50, 100 years of like the education system, and it's hard for them to actually get out of that, um I guess you can say, rut of them, like going through that process of the entire traditional education system.
I love it. I love it. And I can so relate, right? So what you described is like learning based on curriculum that is designed for the average kid, this linear fashion, but every kid is different. And because what way I do, I actually homeschool my own children. I have two. One is 6, one is 9. It is so fascinating to see how they jump from like grade 1 to grade 3 based on their interest level. And so one kid maybe is working on math at the grade 3 level, but is actually working on literature at the grade 1 level. It is so fascinating. So I really agree, like learning has to be based on the interest, what you are really passionate about, right? So maybe you are not interested in science at this moment, but I believe the time will come later when you are working on some project or when something happens to your life. But the traditional school structure cannot foster that flexibility in terms of everyone has your own curriculum, everyone follow your own path, and yeah, I makes sense. So how about learning outside the classroom? So how has learning outside the classroom like prepared you for your like big success today?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, well, going back to school, I feel like because they gave you a set schedule and they told you exactly what to do, it kind of made me
Mm,
feel lost because I just didn't know how to handle myself outside of class because I was just used to following a routine.
mm,
But outside of school, I learned a lot by failing a lot. So by learning from my failures, taking that imperfect action, I learned a lot and I knew exactly what works and what didn't work. I tracked all my numbers. I tracked what worked, what didn't work once again. But yeah, like failure helped me outside of school. But then having a routine given by somebody else inside of school um, did not help me as much.
mm. I love that. I love that. And talking about failures, right? Like so many people, and like doesn't matter how young, how old they are, like they're so afraid of failures. And I love how you said that failure really helps you. And so I love
Yeah, I
this.
like you just have to learn to fall in love with failure. Like now failure is
Mm.
amazing. Like it's just because I know like from failure, like it just comes from failure comes success. Like once again, I always say it's just cheesy and cliche, but it's very true once you actually think about it on a deeper level and actually, take that action.
I love what you said, fully in love with failures. I mean, how many kids out there can really say that? Many of the students I work with before I resign, they're so afraid. The question they ask me the most are like, Dr. Hai, like, can I do this? Am I going to lose a point? Everything's like a point. They're so afraid of losing a point. Learning has become an accumulation of points as opposed to actually I make a mistake and then I actually learn something from this mistake. So thank you for sharing that. I'm definitely going to get that clip out of this. And
I mean,
so,
yeah, like oh yeah, we could go ahead with the comment
no,
first,
go
I
ahead.
guess.
I want you to finish. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm still afraid of failure. Like, I'm not a perfect human being. Like, I'm still working on it. Uh, I whenever questions are sometimes, popped up, like in calls or on team calls or whatever. Sometimes I'm afraid to, speak up because I'm just
Mhm.
afraid if I get something wrong or say something wrong, it sucks because in the last probably, I don't know, 14, 15 years of being in the school system, like it's just that's been stuck in my mind, and I'm trying to train myself to just fall in love with failure, and fall in love with success as well. but yeah, it's still a slow process. Like just letting everybody know, like I'm still afraid of failure in a certain degree, but I'm still learning every single day and trying to, remove myself from that mindset.
Oh, wow, so powerful. It reminds me of my interview with Seth Godin. He said that dance with your fears, dance with your fears. So, really powerful. It also reminds me of a quote. I don't know who wrote it, saying that I don't know the secret to success, but I know the secret to failure was trying to please everyone. Kind of that similar mentality. So I love this quote from Ben. Thank you for joining us live. In high school, they didn't teach us how to earn money. I feel like even in college, right? Like in college, you still don't know how to make money, how to save, how to manage. Financial literacy is a big missing point. And that's why Robert Kiyosaki said in his famous book, Poor Dad and Rich Dad. And here's another book I love from Kawasaki. Which is A students work for C students and B students work for the government. It's just like really interesting to see like people in different systems and have totally different mindset. And I kind of want to wrap things up. I only have a few minutes left. So you are only like, you just turned 18, still very young in my mind. And like you now have this really successful business earning a 6-figure income. So how are your parents, especially your mom, how are they, what do they think? And your friends, are they like surprised? And so share some of their reactions with us.
Yeah, so once again, like in my culture, it was always like don't really say everything about what's happening in your life. That's just what my parents taught me. So right now, like for my income, like my specific income, like how much I'm making per month, only my mom, my dad, my grandma, and my 2 sisters know. That's it.
Mm.
My friends don't even, I don't even think my friends know about the 6-figure income unless they're actually on this live. Like all they know is I have a business. That's all they know. And I just kept to, I like to keep that little low profile for now. Because there's a lot of things like, because right now I'm young, I'm still going to get into, relationships. I'm still going to get into more friendships. And I just don't want them to see the business side of me first. I just
Mm.
want them to see the me side, first. Um, and that's something that I
Okay.
really take seriously. That's the only reason why none of my friends even know anything about the 6-figure income or how much I'm making specifically. All they know is just, Kabir Bains, you're my best friend. You have a business, awesome. You don't go to university anymore. That's just how it is. Like we're still at that normal we're still at the normal friendship that we had like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's the same now. But
I
yeah, my
love it.
parents are very, very happy. Yeah.
I'm sure like they must be so proud of you. I love it. Keep it low key. I love it. And there
Yeah.
are, there are lots of fake groups out there. They don't have much, but they were like, yeah, look at this and that. So I love how you approach this, being low key. I like it. Very nice. So do
Yeah.
you actually, with your money, like, do you do investment or like you reinvest that into your business? Like, how do you manage?
Reinvesting is very important. Like nobody, it's just because you're not going to university, like for my case or any type of entrepreneur, that does not mean like self-education is just fully, gone or it's out of the picture. Like you
Mm.
should still reinvest into yourself and your business. But outside of that, save a bunch. I'm keeping my spending low. I have the app Mint. So I just like keep my budgeting on that. Other than that, I invest a lot into the stock market, throw a little bit into cryptocurrency. We have a TFSA in Canada, so I threw it in there under my mom's name because I have to be 19 to do all of this stuff. So I'm just doing everything under my mom's name right now. But yeah, it's just being smart with my money. I'm still learning because there's a lot for me to learn because I'm still new. I'm still fresh to the entire business money type of game. But yeah, just being smart with it, not spending too much, and just constantly just learning, but also taking that action because there's analysis paralysis. People watch a
Mm.
lot of content and watch a lot of videos, but they don't even do anything about it. But yeah, it's just watch the videos, take the action, fail, succeed, sometimes take the action and succeed right away, and just live a well life from there.
I love it. I love how you said earlier. I don't know if I ever caught it. You said that imperfect action. I think that is so important. I know quite a few friends who are just like, I think the older you become, maybe it's an age thing, the less likely or you want to take a risk. They're still kind of the analysis paralysis, the state that you were talking about, still thinking like they want to make sure everything's perfect before they take action. But I love, great advice here. I love how you are such a financially wise young man, learning how to manage your money. I think is really important. So where do you see yourself in 3 years or 5 years? What is your next major milestone in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I was writing my journal the other day, and it's just I've crazy goals, I have basic goals, but yeah, I just want to hit that seven figures as soon as I can. But my overall goal is to be a millionaire by 21. Like I'm 18, my birthday's in December, so I still have 2.5 years to just work very, very, very hard, and then after I can start to um, open myself up more to the world and have more fun. Don't get me wrong, though. I'm not saying lock yourself in your room for like the entire 2.5 years, but the one thing that I always recommend is like work very, very hard, but also like treat yourself, you know, multiple times a week or like a few times a week by maybe going out with your friends one day or like having a nice nighttime drive, yourself or with family or with your friends. Go out to the movies, like treat yourself every here and there, but um, try to keep that focus. Like, don't get lost into that outside world of partying, even social media and all that stuff. Sometimes maybe just delete Instagram and Snapchat for like a few days and just head down, read books, write, work, have fun. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to hit that goal of being a millionaire by 21.
Amen. I support you. You can definitely do it, my friend, with this level of drive, intelligence, wisdom, and work ethic. You can definitely do it. And like setting goals is so important. I so agree. And especially, I love how you are dreaming big. Many students I work with, they have so many self-limiting beliefs. They don't even dream small anymore. They stop dreaming. I love how you are dreaming big. I'm the same. I learned from my coaches. I have big goals in life. I like put them on like sticky notes everywhere, every day in the bathroom, in my office. I look at them and being reminded. And just like having this conversation with you right now, I feel very fired up. Yeah. So that's awesome. So to wrap this up, we have lots of young people here. We also have educators. We also have parents. I want you to give some pieces of advice to parents and to the young people out there. So for parents, like what should parents do or facilitate to help their kids become as successful as you, self-sufficient. They know exactly what they want, being motivated and driven. So some like advice for parents.
Yeah, so first of all, be very supportive, and there's a deeper meaning to being supportive than just broadly being supportive. You can't just be like, yo, um, good job, Alex, keep working hard and all that stuff. It's you got to go deeper than that. Like, for example, maybe you have to sit down with your kid and you have to talk to them. What do you like? What are your interests? I think I saw a video. um I believe I saw it like last week or something like that. Uh, this guy was saying it's not good to actually ask your young kids like, what do you want to be in the future? Or like, what do you want your future career to be, if that makes sense? Like, some people want to be a firefighter, some people want to be, a police officer, like a doctor. But they said instead ask what your passions are, what you like, what you enjoy to do. And then later than that, start talking to them more on not specifically finding a career, but just, building on that passion. Because I feel like after the age of like 12 or so, then, or 13 or 14, then they'll start to figure out, what kind of career is good for their passion. While they're young, until like 13, 14, 15 years old, focus heavily on actually helping them, working on their passion and just finding what they truly love. Um, and then there's also other aspects in there as well, as in, uh, give your children free time. It's not like, if they're sitting on the couch, on their phone, looking at some YouTube, that might just be their free time and their entertainment. For me, like I come downstairs in my room and I'm working all the time. But once I come upstairs and I just sit down and I'm just on my phone for a quick, 15, 20 minutes, my parents may think that I was always on my phone, and I'm just like, scrolling through Instagram. But it's just my break time. So kind of go easy on giving orders or always telling them to do something. Just give them their free time, but then also talk to them a lot on more of like a parent to kid type of level, instead of there's a bunch of parents out there that just tell their kids to do certain things, go to university or do this, do that, do this, do that. But yeah, you just gotta speak to them more like a friend instead of like a parent. Because I told my mom, I told my dad, I'm like, I treat you guys like you're one of my best friends, and like I always say the word homies, like you're one of my homies. Like that's exactly how I'm gonna treat you. And that's I feel like the relationship gets stronger, and also that happiness, that vibe in the air that helps you work better as well. Um,
I
but
love
yeah,
that.
I know I said a lot there, but yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I love this. From I actually didn't know this from Dan Share from Adam Grant. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's a terrible question to ask kids. I mean, you cannot just back this up, Kabir. I love it. So all the parents watching this, right? Quite a few with us on LinkedIn. So for all the parents watching this right now, stop asking that question, which is so tempting to ask. And even teachers, we ask our children this question. So apparently it's not a good question. Yeah, I love how Angela, constantly observing her kids, and where necessary, explain if you really enjoy it, can make that a profession. Yeah, great. So great pieces of advice for the parents. We also have quite a few young people from different countries with us like right now. So what advice do you want to give to the young people out there, college, high school age kids, and to have a happy, fulfilling life? And what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, so I feel like the first thing that you should do is just grab a piece of paper or like a journal if you have anything. Preferably at night, which I enjoy, like just, late at night, just sit down on your desk and just write, figure out what you want to do. And honestly, like your hand will just write itself and it'll just, write it all on the paper. Like I have probably like 3 to 4 pages in my journal on exactly where I want to be at 21, 25, 27, and 30. After that, there's I still got to figure that out and like write it. But right now, like I have huge goals, and then I also have, weekly goals, monthly goals. But I feel like the first thing that's very important is just sit down at night or whenever you're comfortable. But I just feel like the mood is set at night, and just, everybody's quiet. There's nobody walking upstairs or downstairs. And just write on what you like, what you don't like, what you feel like is, um, a good career, if you're around that 15, 16, 17 age, where you already know your passion, write down your passions, write down where you want to be physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually in, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Do you want to have kids? Do you want to be married at this age? Start to manifest that as well. Manifestation is very important. I really recommend just watching YouTube videos like, manifestation. Just search that up and it's insane. There's a lot of people that manifest and it actually comes into life. And I know Lance said right here, work-life balance. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm trying to figure out that work-life integration now, because everything just happened so fast in the last 4 months, business-wise, and, myself as well, like, spiritually and everything. And I didn't know how to handle it. I genuinely didn't know how to handle it. So I was in a phase of figuring it out in late February and early March. And now, I'm slowly starting to figure it out because I just took a break one night, went back to the journal, wrote everything down on what's working, what didn't work. And I kind of went back to my roots on what was working. Because once again, not a perfect human being, but you just have to figure out what's working and what's not. And life's not perfect. Like, once again, like it's not like, even for me, like I understand six figures and everything, but there's also certain things outside of the six figures in my life that may not be working well, but you just got to work on that stuff. And for me, like the one thing that helps me is just going right back to sitting down at night, opening up my journal and just writing on what's working, what's not, and just writing down your thoughts. And that really calms me down and helps me figure everything out on, what I want in the future, whether that's tomorrow or next year. But yeah.
Amazing, like so many great pieces of advice. And I love how you are so introspective, right? Like for me, when I had a big career reinvention, motivation was when I actually had a pause. I was on sabbatical, took a break from my normal routine. It is such a chance good opportunity for me to reflect, be more introspective. And what you said also reminds me of a Forbes article I read about this guy, how he pretty much journaled his way to become a millionaire. I was like, wow, there's so much power in like introspection, journaling, writing things down, and reflecting. So I love, love, love it. What a great interview, my friend. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much, everyone from all over the globe, different countries, for joining us live. So I have your LinkedIn here, Kabir. So do share with us, where can people learn more about you and from you, social media wise?
Yeah, I mean, social media wise, like LinkedIn and Instagram are like the only main social media I have. But to be honest, like I'm just like I said before, I'm not really about putting myself out there as in I'm a business guy, I'm making six figures and all that type of stuff. But I'm most active on Instagram. If you want to DM me, if you guys need any help, definitely DM me on Instagram. It's just Kabir Bains _. Just shoot me a message if you have any questions or any thoughts or anything like that, and I'll be more than happy to help. Because I'm most active on Instagram.
Awesome. So I'm going to check it out on Instagram. So thank you so
Of
much
course.
again. And thank you so much again, Kabir. And thank you so much again, everyone. I hope you are as fired up as I am about this interview and his story, journey, like pieces of advice, and put them into action. So thank you so much for joining us live. I hope everyone is going to have an amazing weekend. And I look forward to seeing you again next Friday or Saturday, same time, same location. And definitely you guys check out Kabir. What an amazing story. Bye, everyone.
All right. Take care. Thank you.